All right, what's up everyone out there, y'all? My name is Stephen Loud. I want to say thank you for tuning in here to watch this video, guys. I am about to break down some things I've learned just after doing 3 flips, buying a 4th flip, and just working with other cash buyers, title companies, and just trying to apply for different private money loans, hard money loans, and what's the difference between hard money versus private money. And you go to LinkedIn, you go to all these websites, you talk to all these people, and they say, I'm a private money lender. And in your mind, you're like, man, I'm about to get these great terms. But then they hit you with this hard money. And you're like, that's not private money. And it's confusing. And a lot of hard money people know that people want to use private money, but they don't actually have that connection and that relationship and that rapport base built with that person who can lend on private money terms. So they have to resort to the hard money terms. So this is just a brief breakdown of what these two really are, the difference between the two and the similarities, okay? So I want to get into hard money first because I'm familiar with that. I've worked with it and I like it. I love it. It's great. But there can be lending opportunities out there for you and your fix and flips, your Airbnbs, your short-term rentals, your long-term rentals. You can get better terms when you actually find somebody who has the liquid reserves in their bank account to help you out, and it can create a huge win-win for both sides. But I had a friend to call me and we went through some stuff and he was like, man, I got $20,000 and this particular property appraises for $250,000, okay? So let's talk about that right now. The ARV on the property, right? Let's say the ARV is $250,000, okay? That's what the home can appraise for once it's fixed up, it's ready to go. You got an ARV of $250,000, okay? And he got the property under contract for, let's say, $110,000, okay? So let's say the contract right now on the property is $110,000, okay? So if you look at that equity play right there is nice. That's an actually really good equity play. That's about $140,000 in equity. But let's say this house was built in 1971. It needs a new roof. Foundation is good. Needs new AC. It's going to need all cosmetic upgrades. Let's say the property is a 3.2 at 1,800 square feet, right? And hopefully you guys can see this. We're just talking about just some specs on the property, right? And it was built in, let's say, 1972. And hopefully you guys can see this. Built in 1972, 3.2, 1,800 square feet, and ARV on it, $250. That's what comps were selling for. Contracted at $110. He has about $140,000 in equity. And let's say the repairs are going to cost about $65,000. Okay? And we're going to put rehab at $65K. All right? Let's just say that, okay? This gentleman says he has about $30,000 liquid in his bank account, okay? So he's liquid $30,000. Let's say $40,000, okay? Let's say he's liquid $35,000, okay? That's what he's liquid right now. He has $35,000 in his bank account, which is good. Good for him. $35,000 in his bank account. He has a property that's worth $250,000, contracted at $110,000. Equity position right now is $140,000. Rehab is $65,000, and he's liquid $35,000. He's like, man, if I could just get a hard money lender to lend me the money, and you know what? Let's do even a better solid on this on the rehab. Okay, let's even do it because I've seen this happen. Let's say the rehab is $20,000 because this kind of makes a little bit more sense for the deal. Let's say the rehab is $20,000. Let's say that whatever his liquid cash reserves or her liquid cash reserves are is more than what the rehab is going to be. But see, with hard money loans, it's different. You're like, man, I got $35,000 in my bank account. The rehab is only going to be $20,000. I should be able to get lending on this deal. Why won't these private money people work with me? They tell me I need this, I need that. So there's more to it than what you're thinking, okay? So when it comes down, and here we go, we're about to get ready to hit the bomb. Here we go. This is what I'm gonna call the this is the best red I got. Let's see. This is what I call The hard money bomb, okay? Here it comes, right here. Here comes that hard money bomb, all right? Typically, hard money lenders, they have a percentage of what they're going to lend on the deal and how much you have to bring to closing, okay? Some of these lenders will lend something called 85% of the LTC. Sometimes they'll do 90% of the LTC. And then I had a hard money lender that did 100% of the LTC, okay? If you got anything below 85, you need to run. Run, because there are hard money lenders out there that's doing 85, 90%, 100%. So what is LTC, okay? LTC stands for loan to cost, okay? Loan to cost, all right? So you have to think about that. So when they talk about loan to cost, they're talking about of the purchase price. That's the cost, or loan. I like to say loan to contract because that's what it really is. So if the contract is $110,000, they're going to pay 85% of that. That's what that means. If they say 90% LTC, they're going to pay 90% of the contract price. I should make this C over here a purple one so it can match with what I'm talking about over here, all right? And then they'll say, we'll cover 100% of the contract price, okay? So you got to really pay attention to this and what this is talking about. So 85% of 110, right? So let's do $110,000, all right? Give me a second here. So $110,000 times 85%. That's going to give you 93,500. So minus 110,000. So what that means is $110,000 times 15%, okay? That's what you're going to have to bring to close on this deal. All right? So at 85% of the LTC, you're going to have to bring $16,500 just to close on that deal. If they do 90%, which is you're going to have to bring 10% is what that means. That means you're going to have to bring 11,000, sorry. And then here, you're just going to have to play the closing cost. And then also with this as well, we're going to put CC, which is the same thing as closing costs, okay? Do plus, right? So think about this. He's liquid 35, right? He has a loan he wants to get at 85%, or she wants to get 85%. They have to have $16,500 just to cover the other portion of the 110. This is hard money, okay? So look at this, right? Closing costs on this, all right? These are some other hard money bonuses. Get ready, you got to pay. You have something called a doc fee, okay, which is typically $1,500. And then they have another processing fee, which is another $500. And then there's some other miscellaneous charges that may equate to about $500. That may equate to about $300. And this is all with the loan. Then you got to get to the title fees, okay? And title fees would be $1,500 with, just the title escrow company, plus another $300 for the recording fees, plus another $300 for the attorney fees, and then maybe $100 just in random miscellaneous charges. All right, another $100 here. Let me put the dollar sign. All right, This is how it goes. All right. So if you did a loan that was at 100% LTC, all you would have to really do is cover the title fees. All right. And there's something else that hard money lenders do as well. It's something called 3 points or 2 points. So we're going to also add that to here as well, plus 3 points, which is the percentage of the contract price. So 3 points, which is 3%, of that 110. So let's do $110,000 times 3%, 3,300 bucks. Right? That's what that is. 3,300 bucks is going to be 3 points of that 110. All right? So this is what they're hitting you with at closing. So when you have a loan that's at 85% LTC, all right, you have to bring this, guys. Listen to this. Listen to this. This is hard money. Let's do 85%. You got to bring $16,000 plus the 3 points plus the doc fee. Yep. Here we go. Plus the processing fee and miscellaneous charges. Let's go ahead and just make that 800 bucks. All right. Then you got all the title fees. And sometimes you can get that incorporated into the loan. Sometimes you can't. So let's say all this right here is 6,700. That's another 2,200 bucks. All right. This is what you got to have at 85% LTC on the hard money loans to close on the property. How much money is that? Let's go ahead and add that up. Let's go ahead and add that as 16,500 plus 3,300 plus 1,500 plus 800 plus 2,200 you're probably out $24,300 $24,300 just to close on the house. All right? But you're liquid $35,000. This is what it's going to cost to close on this. Now, the bank said we need you to have $50,000, $55,000, $40,000 in your bank account so that you can close on this property. That's what they say, okay? So why is that? Because this hard money loan is only going to be for 6 months, okay? And they're going to charge you 1% of what they're lending on. So if you contract at 110 and your rehab is 20,000, that's going to be a $130,000 loan. Okay, keep up with me here. How did I get the 130? 110 plus 20. That's what they're going to loan on. This is going to be the loan. Okay? And they're going to charge you 1% for the first payment, which is going to be about 1,300 bucks. This is what your loan payment's going to be, roughly for 6 months until you do a draw. And we haven't even got into that yet, okay? So that this loan is going to be $130,000, and you're going to pay 1% of that as your first month's payment, and this is just going to be interest only, okay? You're not even going to be going to the 130 balance. You're only going to be paying interest only. So that 1% is typically the interest only payment. And this 1,300 bucks, you got to show proof of that for 6 months, okay? So $1,300 times 6 equals $7,800, okay? Now I'm doing all this math because I want you to keep up with me. $7,800. is what you have to show proof of in your bank account after all of this is paid, because they need to show that you can handle the 6 months payments. And then they want to see that you got that $20,000 in your bank account. So if you do that $7,800 plus that $20,000, that's roughly what, $27,800. Okay? They want to see you have that in your bank account after you pay for this. So if you do the math right quick, that's 47 plus 4, that's $51,000 plus what, 52? $52,000 and $100. $52,100. It's a crooked 2 there. Stay with me on the math, guys. Stay with me. It's all going to make sense. It should be making sense right now. Okay? Give or take a few thousand that you got to show proof of. But typically, hard money lenders want to see that you got at least this in your bank account. They'll say anywhere between $35,000, $40,000, $52,000. They want to know you got this in your bank account. Because this right here is called underwriting a deal. Okay? I don't know how long it took me to do this, but I just did an underwriting for a deal. This doesn't include some hard money lenders that want the appraisal, they want a survey, they'll make you pay for the appraisal. I just had to pay $700 for an appraisal on the property before I even knew I was going to get lending on it. $700 appraisal. This is all hard money. And this is just at 85%. Now, if it was at 90% LTC, you're just going to take that $11,000 and add it right here and take out the $16,000. And if it's a 100% LTC, you would just, don't even worry about putting a number here, and you just add the closing costs and stuff. And so that's why I was able to pay for the appraisal, because I got 100% lending on my hard money loan, which was better than the other times I did my other flips. But the underwriting process was way more tedious. It almost didn't close, but it closed. So this is what hard money is, right? So when you say I got $35,000 in my bank account, I know this house is not going to take any more than $25,000. Why can't I get a hard money loan? And why can't I get somebody to fund me? I got equity in the deal. Why can't they just fund me? Hard money lenders, they just don't work like that. They don't work like that. This is how hard money works. You got to have capital liquid in your bank. You got to show proof that you have the money for the rehab. And you want to know why they want to see you got this in your bank? Because they do something called draws, okay? Draws. Usually you'll have about maybe 1 or 2 or 3 draws. And hopefully you can see this, guys, okay? You have 1, 2, or 3 draws. And those draws are just pretty much a part of your rehab budget, which is right here. And it's included in this 130. So they're charging you interest-only payments on your rehab budget that they didn't even give you at closing. It's sitting in escrow. And they're going to give you that rehab back at draws. So when you get the doors done, paint done, cabinetry done, costs $15,000, you're going to do a draw for it. And then they're going to give you that money back. So that's why they say, oh, we do 100% funding on the rehab and then 85% LTC. When they say 100% funding on the rehab, they're saying that you got to fund 100%. And then they'll give you back 100% of what you funded. That's what that means. That's what 100% funding on the rehab means with hard money lenders. And a lot of people think they're going to give you 100% at closing. No. You have to have that liquid capital to fund the rehab in your bank account. And then they're going to fund that to you as you do the work, they give it back to you. That's 100% funding. And they typically do that in like 1 to 2 to 3 draws. And sometimes they charge you points on the draws. Woo! But if the deal's deep enough, if there's enough equity in the deal, it'll work. You're gonna lose some of the equity, but it'll work. All right? But that's why I am very adamant about jumping over into this sector, because When you got private money, you bypass a lot of this stuff because the hard money lender is literally controlling the deal. But when you have a private money lender, it's so much better because you have someone that has liquid cash reserves in their bank and they need to make returns on their investments, and you have a deal with great equity, you have experience, you have contractors, you have the people set up for success to make this thing go, but you are just getting hit over the head with the hard money terms. And you want to get a private money lender, right? So let's say, for instance, we get this same private money lender. Let's underwrite this deal again, but let's use a private money lender as we underwrite this deal. I know it's a long video, guys, but this is free game. I'm literally not charging anything. We spend a lot of time on Netflix watching movies and stuff, guys, but if you could just sit down and have the patience to learn this stuff and understand what I'm saying, guys, you can step into a realm of financial freedom that you've never had before. You have YouTube, Instagram, all this stuff on the social media platforms, and people are literally teaching people how to be millionaires and how to make money, but they find something else better to do with their time because they're not entertained. They're not entertained. Their minds are used to doing other things, but if you can just sit down and learn these concepts and train yourself to learn a new skill set, you'll set your family free, okay? So stay with me, bear with me. We're going to get into the private money sector, which is what I'm really excited about because I've joined a class, I've joined a team, and I think they're really great. I've already been able to raise private capital, OPM, and I think that is like the best thing to do right now for you and for the people that have the private capital because it's just so much going on in the world right now. They don't know what's going to happen with their money. So let's underwrite this deal again with the private money, okay? Here we go. We have an ARV at $250,000, okay? And then we have a contract, all right, at $110,000. Okay, we have an equity position, here we go, of $140,000. Okay, now we have the rehab budget set at $20,000. Okay, and let's say we're liquid that same $35,000. All right, we go to our private money lender that has $500,000 in their bank account. $300,000 in their bank account, maybe $1 million, $2 million, right? Who knows? They have the liquid reserves, okay? What's the most important thing when coming to a private money lender? What's the most important thing? It's not the deal. They're the most important thing. Their money, their time, their energy, their efforts, their return is the most important thing, okay? That's your friend. That's your family. That's someone who trusts you, that sees you, believes in you, and they want to lend on your project. You do not take that lightly. You take that very seriously. And you want to make sure that you're very clear about returns. You're very clear about how the asset is going to be secured with their funding and how their funding is going to be secured with the asset. It's very detailed, okay? It's very personal. It's rapport-based building. But we're going to talk about this deal and we're going to get into that, okay? But with a private money lender, I can go to them and say, hey, look, this house is worth $250,000. The equity position is $140,000. I think the rehab one is going to be $20,000, give or take 10 grand, 15 grand. And I got the contract at $110,000. If you lend me 100, let's say they lend $35,000 on this. If you lend me 100, just say that they lend $40,000. If you lend me $150,000 on this property, I will give you a return anywhere between 10% to 12% in the matter of 6 months or 12 months. Okay? Lend me 150. I'll give you a return between 10% to 12% in 6 or 12 months. Okay? So let's do the math on that right quick. $150,000 times 10% equals $15,000. Okay? 15K. All right? Let's do 12%. $150,000 times 12%. $18,000. This is their return in 6 to 12 months on 150. And the average flip project is 3 to 4 months. If that flipper knows what they're doing and if they have a light to medium deal. If it's a full gut, that's a different story. Look at that return. Wells Fargo and these banks give a 0.15% APY, annual percent yield, is what banks give you for allowing them to be your bankers and holding that money in their bank. On $150,000, what is the APY on that in 12 months? That is just $250 that bank is going to give them for allowing them to hold that $150,000 for 12 months. They'll get $250. But if they put that $150,000 into an asset, they'll get 10%, 12% return within 6 to 12 months. Average flip takes 3 to 4 months. How long will it take them to get $15,000 by just letting that 150 sit in the bank? You do the math. $15,000 divided by that 0.15%, that $250, that's how many years, okay? So let's look at that right quick. So $15,000 divided by 250, that's 60. That means it would take them 60 years. It would take someone who has $150,000 sitting in their bank account. It'll take them 60 years to get that $15,000. When you can get that $15,000 within 6 to 12 months on a 6 to 12 month note, right? On a mortgage note, right? And they can have that back to them within 3 to 4 months. But you set the loan up for 12 months, but that flip project can finish within that time frame. You can set the loan up for 6 months, and that flip project can finish within that time frame. So how is the private money secured? How is that secured? Let's talk about that. It's called the first possession lien, okay? First possession lien. First possession. This is how private capital is secured. With the title company, what happens is when that private money lender says, yes, I want to lend the 150, send me over the documentation, send me over title commitment, everything. You're going to say, perfect. I get my title company. Everything's done with the title company and with an attorney. They are going to file the first possession lien on the property for that private money lender. So if you mess up, or if I mess up, or whoever is getting the money and the lending on the deal, if they mess up, they have a $140,000 equity position in the deal. Well, if they lend 150, they have a $100,000 equity position. That's why it's so important when you're going to private money lenders, make sure you have equity, because if you mess up, Their lending is secured in the asset in the first position. Their lending is secured in the first position. Bam, they got the note. Like Wells Fargo, Bank of America, with all these foreclosures going on. These people literally have these houses in their name. The deed is in their name, but that bank has the first possession lien. They got to pay that debt back that they got to pay for the house. That's how it works. That's what you call the barter system. You buy, I lend. You don't pay, I take back. I have that first possession lien. You turn into a private money lender who's working these 9-to-5 jobs. They got this money, but they don't know how to do this. You have to educate them and protect them. And they got the capital sitting there, and they don't want to invest in the stock market. They don't want to invest in crypto. They want to invest in real estate, but they don't know anyone. But they know you. They know me. And you tell them how this works and how their funds are secured. First possession lien. That's how your money's secured, backed by a secured asset in real estate. That ARV is $250 on the house. You lend me $150, you got a $100,000 equity position. You tell me what stock you invest in, you automatically got a $100,000 equity position. And if I mess up, you got a $100,000 equity position. It's that simple. Okay? That's how private money works. That's how it works. So you're not worried about having to pay monthly payments. You can negotiate with this private money lender. Hey, I'll pay you back that 10 to 12% when I refinance in 6 months or 7 months, or when I sell it on the market. You'll get everything you invested to me with your interest rate, with interest right back at closing. You see how much a relief that is compared to hard money? There's no processing fee. There's no doc fee. There's no points. There's no miscellaneous charges. There's title fees. But you don't have all that stuff you're dealing with. You ain't got to show this. You ain't got to worry about draws. You don't have to worry about a lot of this stuff. Proof of the 6 months payments. Private capital is where it's at. That's where it's at. And that's the difference between hard money and private money. And I hope that makes sense. I'll see you guys at the closing table. Peace.